Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, Poppin' Opinion, where we give you our opinion, we wrap it in facts, and we leave it at that. Now this video is actually a part 2 to a previous video I did on transgenders in sports. So if you didn't check that video out, make sure you go and check out part 1. So we're gonna get right into part 2 of transgenders in sports. Today, we're going to talk about the female to male transgender in sports, and we're going to see their role in this whole controversy. Now, I did do some research, and let me tell you, it was way easier to find information about men transgendering into women, participated in women's sports, than it was to find females that were transgendered into men and trying to participate in men's sports. I think we all know why that is, but we're still going to talk about it. So here we go. First, I want to share with you a list I found of male transgenders or female to male that played in sports. Now, the interesting thing about this list is that it has transgender males on the list that actually date all the way back to 1934. So this is definitely not a new issue. Now, the first person or story that I want to take a look at, it's Kai Allums. This is a female to male transgender that played college basketball. Kai was the first openly transgender person to play the NCAA Division I sports when he played college basketball for George Washington University. Now, the important thing to pull from this story is Kai played on the female team his entire career. I did not come across any articles where he tried to fight to play on the male's team or where he actually played against any male. Now, what I did gather from the different articles that I read about Kai is that his fight was more so about the inner conflict of feeling and wanting to identify as a man while playing on the women's team. So once again, I didn't see any articles where Kai said, "Let me play with the males." Even though I was born a female, I feel I have the skill set to play with the male basketball teams versus the female. I did not see any articles where Kai expressed that desire. So with that being said, we're going to leave that little jewel right there, and we're going to pick that back up later. We're going to move into the second story or person that I want to talk about today. Now we move on to Mac Beggs, another former high school athlete. Now, Beggs is a female to male wrestler who wrestles for the female wrestling team. Now, I came across an article where Beggs was being sued by the parent of one of the female wrestlers that he was competing against. Now, the difference in this story is, though, Beggs did want to wrestle against men. But in the state of Texas, there is a state ban that limits transgender athletes to teams conforming with the gender on their birth certificate, meaning if you were born a female, then you have to play with females. If you were born a male, then you have to play with males. That is in the state of Texas. So I can say that Beggs did want to compete against other males, which is what Beggs identified as, but because Beggs was born as a biological female in the state of Texas, you can't compete. So I dug a little deeper into this story, and I did find out some interesting facts. Now, Beggs was undefeated back in 2018, winning 36 straight matches. That's a lot. Now, here's what I find disturbing and interesting about the story. I did come across an article that says Beggs was undergoing hormone treatment as part of her transition. So let's just pause here for a second and let that information soak in. So I did a little research on hormone therapy, female to male, just to confirm what I already know. Now, as part of the hormone therapy, the female is given drugs to produce more testosterone, which helps to increase her masculine tendencies. And it changes the fat distribution and the muscle distribution, which goes back to everything I was talking about in my part one video about the biological differences of a man versus a woman and the unfair advantage it gives. So here we have a female transgendering to male that's pumping herself full of male hormones, increasing her masculine tendencies and ultimately giving her a competitive edge over her female opponents. Your Honor, I rest my case. She won 36 straight matches, and no one questioned this. Somewhere around the 10th or the 20th win, no one stepped up to say, hey, there's something fishy about this situation. Why is she annihilating all her competition? Should we look into hormone therapy and see if, in fact, it is giving the athlete a competitive edge over their opponent when that opponent is of the same biological gender? Now, I am not a rocket scientist or a brain surgeon, but what I do have is common sense. So come on, people. It is what it is. Can a church get an amen? Now, I did find one story recently about a boxer um, who was female and transgender to male, and she boxed against a male and she actually won. Kudos. But I mean, look at her opponent. I'm going to say I don't see her trying to fight Mayweather or anybody like that. This individual that she fought, okay, you won. Now, I'm saying she only because she was born female but transgendered into male. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful when I'm saying she. I'm just saying that to show that this individual was a woman. And biological inside, she is a woman, and she did win the match against a biological male. Now, Pat Manuel is a professional boxer. In 2018, Manuel became the first transgender in the United States history to box as a transgender. Manuel is a 5-time national amateur boxing champion, and I believe he was a boxing champion boxing as a female, not a male. Now, I do want to stop here and point out an important fact. Manuel boxes or fights as a super featherweight. Now, that simply means that the weight class is between 126 pounds and 130 pounds. Now, I weigh 145, but we're going to keep that off the record. Now, I don't know how many men you know in that weight range, but the ones that I know in that weight range, the average female can take them. And we're going to leave that right there. I'm just saying. Sometimes I be saying too much, but I'm just saying. So, to sum up my findings when it comes to the female that are transgendering to males, I didn't really find a push for these athletes to try to compete against the sex that they identify as. I truly believe the female, whether you're transgendering to a male or not, you truly understand the difference, the biological difference. And as an athlete, I believe that these transgender men understand that there is really no advantage to them competing against other men. So it's my opinion that this whole transgender in sports controversy is being spearheaded by men that are transgendering into women. They are the ones that come out victorious in this plight. They understand the biological difference. They know that they're stronger, they're faster. They know that their biological makeup is different, giving them the competitive edge. It's also my opinion that the transgender male or female to male, they're just going along for the ride because the whole controversy helps push and fight for transgenders or gay rights in general. But I don't really feel that the transgender female to male, they don't really have a dog in this fight. It's really all about the transgender female or male to female. They are the ones that have the advantage here. Before I go or go any further, I do want to give this PSA announcement because there's always someone out there lurking in the shadows that has something to say about what someone else has said or what someone else is doing. And they're always twisting the facts and the information to further their cause. So let me just say, I have nothing against the transgender community. I have nothing against the gay community. I am simply gathering the facts, stating the facts, and then giving you my opinion about those facts. Whether my opinion is the popular or the unpopular opinion. It's simply my opinion about this topic. So let me interject this thought into this conversation. If trying to gain your rights violates someone else's rights, is it fair? Is it fair for your rights and your needs to supersede mine? No, it's not. It's not fair. It's not an accomplishment to beat someone that you already have the unfair advantage over. You're not winning. What you're actually doing is you're setting back women, real women, women who were born and are biologically women inside and out. We are losing in this battle because you're setting us back. While you're fighting for your transgender rights, you're taking away ours. Women have fought for years just to be able to participate in sports, not to play with the males, but just to play amongst ourselves and be respected, to show that we are skillful in what we do. We fought for years just to be recognized as legitimate athletes. And now here, where women, we're finally excelling in our own sports, in our own arenas, with amongst ourselves. Now we have men, biological men, that identify as women coming over to our side and stealing our glory. It's not fair. I understand you want to compete, and perhaps the identity thing is confusing, but biologically, you're a man. So if you're a man, compete with a man. Is it fair for you to play with or against someone who is biologically different than you, whether they have the edge or you have the edge? Is it fair? No, it's not. So, how do we resolve this issue? How do we try to please both sides? And of course, we all know you can never please everyone. So, what do we do? My opinion, my idea, let the transgender community start their own league where they can play amongst themselves. To me, it's just that simple. Nobody's stopping you from playing with each other. We're just trying to stop you from playing with those who you have the unfair advantage over. Now, will this happen? Doubt it. Why? Because America, the world, we love conflict. We love to argue. We love to fight. We love to have something to talk about. So this will not get resolved anytime soon. But hey, that's just my opinion about this matter. I wrapped it in a couple of facts and we're going to leave it at that. Well, thank you for joining me once again and listening to me ramble on about transgenders in sports. Hopefully, I've entertained you a little bit and I've also educated you a little bit on this particular subject. Now, once again, if you like the content, please make sure to hit the like button and don't forget on your way out, hit that subscribe button. And as always, take what you need, leave what you please. But at the end of the day, remember, opinions are always free.